Hi, Scorpio. It's your season, and I don't know, I started filming other signs before you. However, I didn't put them out yet. It just didn't feel right. Today is the 24th, so it's the day before the lunar eclipse. And I will have this out at that time. Why it's important to mention that, I think, is because time and the right timing for certain things to arise. Also sitting here because I feel very fidgety, restless lately. If my nose looks funny, it's because I did get a nice little extraction there. All right. So your month, your season, already the heaviness is pulling us in. Already things feel, at least to me, not on purpose, at least to me, but I also have quite a few planets in Scorpio. My first bath in a really long time this month, or this past couple days. Already I feel how strongly this brings us under. Doing a couple signs before you, I felt more like they needed that time. And I needed to speak to them. And for you, now that we're in Scorpio season, I think another card fell out. This one. Okay. So it's funny because I thought it was the Death card, but it's actually a Tower card that has fallen out. So the Tower card and the Three of Wands. So for you, the eclipse, your season, is bringing a change in the way you view your direction. And I think that can cause for this subconscious or more conscious feeling through the signs and feeling what you're feeling. To me, every time I do the sign of the season, somehow that same theme or whatever's coming up for them trickles into their lives. So like this season is about intimacy. It's about sexual intimacy. It's about the intimacy in our lives in general. In the sexual organs, Scorpio rules the sexual organs and is ruled by Mars or Pluto. Some lean more the Plutonian side, and we just had Pluto go direct on the same day. So yesterday, the 23rd, we had all three of them go in on the same day. Excuse me. But we'll get more into that, all those details, in the second part, which is also the / extended, which will be in a link below. All information to work with me one-on-one is there as well. So it just comes sweeping in. It's almost like if you've ever seen a show or a movie that like slashes through the veil and brings you to another place, another dimension, something opens up for you, and it's in the way and how you've been seeing the way that has presented to you, but also seeing another way that could be changing in your life. And it's about time you become a little bit more excited. Yes, you are used to things changing. However, you can still get, being a fixed sign, it could still be like unearthing. It can cause you to yield, take caution, and to some extent, or it can bring out like the super adrenaline side of yourself too. This is a reveal of how when you look sometimes at one aspect of your life and you can see how it influences you in a positive way, or you find that you have a lot of affection in one area or a lot of love in an area of your life. And then if you take a look at another side of your life, you could also be grieving at the same time. You'll notice that there is a deepening and a depth of love this month in your life through a potential partnership or the partnership you have. And the beauty and the goodness in that also reveals what you've been letting go of and trying to let go of. Sorry, I'm just adjusting here. And it could be for a while now that you've been doing this, perhaps for some of you. It could be that you find this place where you are even accepting and even giving space, time, and love to this side of you that needs to process, or where you can see that you've been maybe even overly looking in one direction of your life. So to go from the Tower to the Wheel of Fortune in such a short period of time goes to show that when you hit a certain point in your life, it doesn't mean that there's no going up, that it means it's going to stay there forever. It's this change, this wave of change that happens. That's why I'm kind of just letting myself adjust as I go from this point forward, because even though I can tell you about the planets and the signs, the intuition really knows best. And this month you find that you have to really use it in a way where you can both receive all of that love, all of the goodness, all of the uplifting things in your life, just as much as you can acknowledge and have compassion for what is its complete duality. This isn't really a dual month, but we're coming from a dual month into a sign where certain things sting when we show it the truth. However, if you go through Libra season in the way that is important, by the end of it, you find that this switch is sometimes heavy, does have this, okay, all of these things about relationships were presented, maybe rehashed, maybe moved through in the way that it's necessary to do together, or even just being revealed on your own and getting that time to do it. And now it's like the deepening of that. Okay, so what's the root of it? You know what the root is. You found out maybe you're slightly detached from it at the time because it was maybe more pleasant. And now we're getting into the time where it's like, okay, well, how do stars become stars? They die in order to shine. And this is something I'll always bring up, is like the scars that you have are the parts of you that you've allowed to heal and feel the pain of that healing, that stitching, that the skin coming back together. Not that you feel that like specifically and literally, but it's through whatever you're feeling, it's through whatever you're experiencing in that time of your life that scar is healing, right? So when it's internal, we don't really see that. We just notice how our body's adjusting, but with all the stimulation, especially coming from an air sign into the water sign world, there's a huge necessary pause or halt or stop, like coming into someone's energy who is normally like calm or relaxing can feel like a hard stop at like a red light, or whenever if you've ever felt like you're just been like bouncing around in your head, and then all of a sudden you go somewhere, you maybe like get a body treatment or you do yoga. Some people that I've known to tell me, or I've even experienced, is you can sometimes feel like you get hit by a bus because your body had this ability to communicate with you in a different way that you, even if you don't realize it consciously, that's what's happening. And then at the end of the class, traditionally you lay down and let your body absorb what you've done. And your eclipses are, yes, the moment happens like during the shifts happen during the moments up close when the eclipse comes. However, it takes 6 months to really draw out and draw from that emotion. So you've been constantly processing. So yeah, this month will have its highs and its lows perhaps, but not without you acknowledging what's important for you, acknowledging this side of yourself that may have been, maybe you're treated better now than you've ever been. Maybe there's people in your life who expect better from you because it's actually a sign of maturity and wisdom and growth when you can handle, as you know, when you can handle all of these things together. And when people expect that from you, even though it can be a difficult thing to have expected from you all the time, or during times where you may need a break, it's important, like, as you know, to take that time. But it's also important that you recognize that that's not always possible. I mean, you can, but you're also very much able to come to conclusions that are more suited for what you need at this point in your life. And if you are changing course of direction, career, or perspective, it's important that we'll get to these cards in a second. It's important that you give that time the space. Like, it made you who you are. There's a lot of new things happening. The eclipses being in your sign, it made you who you are, but now you're able to maybe take things more in a lighthearted way to an extent. Or you're giving yourself this opportunity to really connect with something deeper, something maybe that is just a hobby, or something that is a passion project, if you want to call it that, or this thing that you always felt fortunate to do and know how to do, yet you don't always do it. You just think it's something you do, but then you realize, like, that there's just your own unique spin to it, and it's something that you might want to do more of because it makes you feel a certain way, and you find yourself connecting with that, or maybe connecting with people on that level. This month may not be extremely interactive for you until maybe towards the end when we get to Sagittarius season. However, it's a huge month for whatever you felt like you couldn't control in your life, whether it is because it's stemming from this Tower moment, but it could only happen now, right? Like, that's something we always talk about, is it can only have happened now anyway. And I think that it's an important thing to acknowledge that whatever's coming undone, meaning releasing, meaning whatever has taken its course with you, wherever you want to tighten things up a little bit, or wherever you're unwilling to compromise your health. You know how you can run. People maybe expect that from you. Well, if you come into any new relationships this month or new interactions, maybe that's something that you come out with right away. That you're not a person willing to compromise your health or your relationship to the important people in your life in order to do what needs to be done. You'll do what needs to be done, and it will get done. The gates really open for you at the end of the month. You may find yourself extremely intuitive. So if you're talking to people, it could feel like you're talking another language sometimes, or you're really deeply connecting with certain people by the end of the month, a specific group of people. This could also be a newer group of people. However, you feel very connected to them. You know, you feel very like you've drawn in what you find stabilizing, but not people that you remain stuck with, not people who remain too much in the past, because the past is more than likely going to come up this month in ways to push you forward. Why? Because you remember like 6 months ago when you committed to something deeper on the full moon? That's what's asking you, are you sure? Are you ready? Sure you want to do this? Are you sure you've committed to this? And it might cause you to be very vocal with it, say something out loud in order to make it like more valid, more real, but also not having that emotional intelligence not to hold yourself to it if it's something harmful or becomes something harmful. But it seems like it can bring you a lot of time, money, whatever it is that you really value, space, all of that good stuff. The eclipse at the end of the month can reveal to you and really speed you up. But it's important in your direction that you want to go. That's what I meant to say. However, it's still important that you remain and have that understanding that you need that rest. You need to process this. Doing can be processing, but it's important to connect to your intuition in a way that you're not being worked for it. It's not about the money. Sometimes it's just about what you need in the moment, and you know that. I know we didn't talk a lot about relationships. Sorry, Scorpio. This month you can get lucky. However, I don't think if you're in a relationship, you're very content. If you're not, or you're coming out of one and you're spending time alone, either way, you find that you're enjoying this time right now. That's what I see. You don't, or your mind's not there. That's not where your mind is right now. Even though it's your season, you just feel like, you know, if you give yourself the attention, affection that you need, you'll get what you need all month. And you'll attract that all month. So, but there's a sense of strong independence this month. But we'll get more in depth into the second part, again, which will be in a link below on Patreon. Thank you for the adjustment period in the beginning. I'm just trying to make these a little less stiff, because I'm not really a stiff person. I tend to be very fidgety and move around a lot, depending on the energy. Also, other signs are already feeling the heaviness of your season. You already understand it. You feel it too. However, there's something spicy about it for you and that you really enjoy, especially in the beginning and then towards the end. But you know, the middle, it's always the rough, like the ultimate of the sign. Once Mercury comes into your sign, it will feel that way. But it's important. You're gonna be able to observe a lot of that around you too this month. And to reach out to people when you don't, because you'll get the response, a great response from it, I feel. And let's not be afraid of that. You know, you're very warm creatures, gentle, and sometimes, but you can be very vicious. And I think sometimes there's a fear there, but we'll get into it. All information to work with me one-on-one is below. I will have a new podcast out soon. I've just been, my mind is wild. Vata season, that's Ayurveda. It's very real for me. And I will see you in the second part and next month. Happy birthday.